Good day to you, everyone out there. You're welcome to Grand Masterclass. I'm your facilitator, and my name is Akindele Opeyemi. And today, we'll be looking at how to craft a startup strategy for your business. How can you craft a startup strategy for your business right from January? Now, let me start with a familiar question. Many people will say, 9 out of 10 businesses fail every year in Nigeria. If 10 businesses start right in January, by December, 9 has completely shut down. Why is this? A lot of people will say, well, it's the government, it's the economy, it's the fault of thieves, Nigeria is a bad country. But there are things people fail to consider when it comes to running their businesses. And this is one of those things. How do you analyze your business in the past year? And how should you set agenda for the current year? That is exactly what I'm going to show you in this grand masterclass. So let's go. Now, in the center, you can see the Chief Executive Officer. Whether you are truly a CEO or not, let's just say you are here as the business owner, okay? Now, the CEO is surrounded by what? vision, and mission. So your vision as a company and your mission as a company, you must be completely enmeshed in that, because that is what all your strategy is built on. So you have to be clear when it comes to your mission and vision statement. That must be the core of your strategy. And if you look at my mind mapping, you can see pest and SWOT right here. These are the prevailing factors that must be considered in factoring your strategy. The political, the economic, the technological factors that will affect your business, your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. You have to understand all these things. And all your strategy, again, must stay within the confines of what we call your EDGE concept. If you've not read Good to Great, it's a very powerful book you have to read as someone running business. You can study more about the EDGE concept as it is presented in that particular book. It's all about you reducing the core of your business to 3 key areas that you want to focus on. So these are the things that form, the umbrella under which you craft your strategy. So vision and mission statements are very key. So every year in January, you have to return to what your company is all about. What is that thing that your company is all about? It has to be extremely clear to you. If it's not clear to you, you'll struggle. Okay? Now, there are key areas of business, 6 key areas that I've identified for you. There are more, but to begin with, let's focus on this. Number 1, HR. I'm not listing them in a particular order of importance. So HR, that's human resources, your people. 2, sales. Sales. What you sell, how much, when. Okay? 3, marketing. Marketing activities, your corporate social responsibilities as a company, your social media strategy, your advertising, your new product offering, and all of that. Number 4, inventory. This is the 4th level, at which you have to analyze your business. Don't forget, we are talking more about retail businesses, retail pharmacy, but it could apply to other forms of businesses as well. But I'm aware some businesses do not hold inventory, but I also know a lot of businesses out there, they hold inventory. So you look at your inventory, you have to analyze at that level and craft a strategy. Number 5 is accounts. Now you can see 5 and 6, accounts, finance. They are different. Many people confuse them, for each other. So accounts, your expenses, cost control, profit per staff, and all of that, you have to analyze at that level and create strategy at that level. The 6th one is finance. How you source for money, your outstanding debts, and all of that, go into your finance. So at these 6 levels, you are supposed to analyze and craft a strategy for your business. Now, let's go. Right here, you can see year completed, T versus A. What does year completed mean? The past year. So this is 2022, January, right? Past year is 2021, January to December. Now, T means target. What target did you set last year? If you have set no target for each of these areas, each of these areas, I'm not talking just about sales targets. Sales is just one out of the 6 you are looking at. So if you set target for your business, you have to list those targets out. Okay, so I believe you have a sheet of paper right there before you. So you list out those targets you set out to achieve last year, January, and by December, so versus what you have actually achieved. So target versus actualized or achieved. You have to appraise your business on that. So if you set out to make XYZ millions of sales, okay, fine. By December, how much millions of sales have you achieved? So let's say A, B, C, D, okay? So target versus actualized. So you express it as sales achieved. So taking sales as our example now, over sales target times 100%. So that's going to give you the percentage achieved. So you can do the same for each and every one of these. So the first thing to do is to do the target versus actualized for the previous year. That's extremely important, and I'll take you through this one after the other. Let's begin with sales. Sales is what many of you out there are familiar with. Of course, once you're in business, you want to build up sales. So how should you analyze your sales? How should you craft a strategy around your sales? That's very key. So let's go. Sales. Now, one of the things you have to do is top 100 products or maybe services, whatever you're doing, by quantity versus profit. Okay, so for instance, what are your top 100 products? What do you sell the most? Don't do top 5, don't do top 10, do top 100, because as a retailer you hold thousands of inventory. So a typical retailer holds a lot of inventory, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of thousands, millions of inventory. So you know your top 100. So you can work with that. Now, it is not just by quantity. Let's say, for instance, you sell, give me an example. Okay, let's say Eva water. Okay, so let's say you sold 1,000 bottles. Okay, that is sales by quantity. Okay, now last year, what was that 1,000 bottles? What was it worth? So you have to know it. So let's say it was worth 120,000 naira. So this is your sales, but this is your quantity. So you have to know quantity versus sales. Sometimes sales might increase, but the quantity sold might actually not increase. And that is where inflation comes in. So when you look at your sales, are you selling more by quantity, or you are selling more just because the prices of commodities have gone up? So that's very key. So every single product, you have to know that. Now, you do a 3-year comparison, 2019 versus 2020 versus 2021. What was your trend? Okay, across these indices, by quantity, by sales, how did you perform? 2019, 2020, 2021. Very key. But if you have not been keeping proper records before, it is high time, you began. Okay, so also you look at Q1 to Q4, quarter on quarter performance. Okay, quarter one, what was your sales January to March? What was your sales April to June, July to September, then October to December? So you take your quarterly sales and put them side by side. So you could have something like Q1, Q2, Q3, and maybe Q4. Okay, now you also look at your super categories, exhaustive categories. I can't go into details for everything now, but super categories means, okay, so not just looking at sales, you now break your business into the departments. Okay, so you have, let's say, drugs, supermarket, bakery, and what have you. So that is what I refer to as super category. So you are supposed to do your quantity sales, the actual sales in amount per each category. Very, very important. Now, depending on the software you use and how much, to what extent you want to query or investigate your business, you can further break down these super categories into the exhaustive or more specific categories. For instance, under supermarket, you may not just want to know your supermarket sales, you may want to split that into sales of non-alcoholic drinks, alcoholic drinks, soft drinks, chocolates, biscuits, and for pharmacy, maybe injectables versus tablets and all of that. So you go over that and do it for quantity and for sales. Also, you look at profits too for each of those categories, and then you can set a new target. So I deliberately spend a lot of time on sales because that is where we have a lot of our activities going on. Okay, so the next one is marketing. So marketing, what is marketing? Marketing is different from advertising, even though advertising is part of marketing. You can spend a lot. In fact, every chief executive, every business owner has to know a lot about marketing. It's very compulsory. It's not an option. Okay, so you look at how do you engage your customers? What offerings are you giving? What values are you adding? Are you placing them, yourself, your brand, your business right in front of their face? Look at your social media. How did you perform last year? What message do you want to craft for this year? Is it spend less, live more, or something? You have to have a message around the social media. Corporate social responsibilities has to be laid out. Okay, so you look at the past year. How many CSRs did you do? Is it medical outreaches? Is it feeding the poor? Is it awarding scholarships? It could be in any form, but you have to properly look into that. Okay, now advertising, where, what, and how you place your adverts. Now again, these two are extreme. Okay, now let me quickly go back to corporate social responsibility. Millions of people across Africa know about the Tony Elumelu Foundation. That's the chairman of United Bank for Africa, the UBA group. Now, you see him all over LinkedIn, all over Twitter, all over Facebook, talking about the Tony Elumelu Foundation. But guess what? What is he doing? It's not just giving out non-refundable grants of $5,000. No. Is marketing his brand, because you quickly connect the UBA brand to whatever he is doing. So you have to set an agenda around that as well. Okay, so these last two are extremely important. Now this year, what new product are you offering, and at what point are you going to release those products? You have to ask yourself. So whatever you do, even if what you do, as like of course most of us do in retail, we sell common goods, commodities. But then, are there new products? Are there new brands you want to introduce? What problems are they going to solve for your customer? That is what? Marketing. Okay? Now, again, the next thing is customer acquisition. What strategies have you been using in the past? I know a lot of people in business, they use low pricing as a strategy, though not really a core strategy, but well, let's call it a strategy for customer acquisition. But it's not sustainable in the long run. So how do you want to acquire new customers? How do you want to retain your current customers? These are key objectives of business. So you might need to figure out, okay, how have you been storing customer data and what can you do to improve on that? So let's leave marketing, let's come down here to inventory. Okay, so inventory has to do with your stock. But beyond your stock, we can also include your assets, like vehicles and all of that. But let's limit it to stock for the sake of this particular topic. So who are your top 20 suppliers? Across your product lines, who are the top 20% of your suppliers that give you, suppliers that give you the highest sales, that their products give you the highest sales? You might, if you have that information, it could tell you how much you could do. Maybe they should give you more products before you finish paying them so that you can do more sales for this year. Or who are your bottom 20% suppliers? Those that their products don't leave your shelves on time and all of these things, so that you can reduce shrinkages, damages, and expiry. So this is very key. Then what suppliers give you the highest profit margin? So this one is different from sales. There are suppliers whose products are extremely profitable, that will make more profit per item than those that will sell more quantities. Okay, so you might want to figure out that and subcategorize your suppliers and know how to deal with each of them. So that is key as well. Then also, this is where a lot of people have issues. Business is not just about the sales you are making. No. It's also about how much profit do you retain. And one of the greatest threats to your profit in business, and you cannot but keep creating strategies to tackle, is shrinkages and expiry. So I put that under inventory because it is going to take a lot from your profit. So how many items were, maybe came from the factory or suppliers damaged in your store, eaten by rats, broken by staff, expired? You have to have specific figures for each of these and then know how to further reduce them this current year and set a target around that. Okay, so let's go on to accounts. That is key. Now you'll be wondering, what does I have my background in pharmacy, my postgraduate in public health. What am I doing with accounts? You see, it is one of those things you have to learn, by experience in business, because it becomes a matter of necessity. Yeah, you have to be on top of your figures, your expenses. What are your top 20% expenses? Diesel, petrol, power supply, salary, advertising. How are you doing in those aspects? You have to be very, very specific. Also, cost control, very, very key. Let me tell you, the economy is not likely to improve in 2022. So every business must return to cost control. You must learn how to control costs. How to control cost is different from cost cutting. We are not saying cut corners to save money, no. But you have to be able to control your cost. And you cannot control your cost if you do not know your numbers. And to decide, okay, when should we power the big gen, when should we power the small gen? These are aspects of cost control. How much staff do we actually need? How much salary do we budget for this department and that? That will come under cost control. Okay, profit per staff, extremely key. You have to know how much. So you take your profit, okay, I expect that you know your margins from your sales. Okay, so you take your profit, if you have different branches, divided by the number of staff in that branch or even in that department. You can, get the details to the extent that you want. That is important, so that you know how much profit you are making per staff per year, and you can compare different years. Profit per branch, budget versus spending. Okay, so every year you set a budget. In another training, I'm going to tackle budgeting, and I believe you are going to love it. So you set out your budget. Okay, we are spending 50,000 naira on fuel purchases every month. Good, that is budget. Now, in that particular month, so let's say month of November, how much fuel did you actually spend? How much fuel did you actually purchase? So you compare. If you spend more than your budget, then you query it. Is it because we did not anticipate increase in fuel price, or somebody is cutting corners in the business? Okay, revenue assurance, extremely key. Extremely key. Revenue assurance means, what degree of confidence do you have that what is being sold is actually coming into your bank account? So your cashiers, what variances do they have when they close their account at the end of the day? You have to pay attention to all of this. So those are aspects of revenue assurance. Your checks clearing in the bank, your deposits in the bank, you have to be clear. A lot of business owners are just concerned with counting money. You send someone to the bank, but does that exact amount enter your bank account? We've heard of cases where the staff you send to the bank will remove a few thousands, knowing fully well that you are not going to check. So you are supposed to look at these things. Now, under account is where we now have new budget. So for 2022, you have to have a new budget. And there are different methods to it, which I can't exhaust here, but you can read more about it on your own. Zero budgeting and incremental budgeting. You can budget afresh. Okay, this and that is what we are spending, this is the sales we are expecting. Or you can base your budgeting on last year. So in 2021, we spent 6.5 million fueling our generators, 1.2 million servicing our generators. Okay, this year we are hoping that fuel price might increase, so let us increase our budget for fuel by 50%. And if you do that, don't forget, it's going to do what? It's going back to your sales targets, because you can't do the same sales of last year, okay, to fuel your business when fuel price is going to increase by 50%. So I hope that is clear. So you can set new budgets. Okay? Now, the sixth one is finance. Excuse me. Finance is inflow of money into your business and outflow of money from the same. Okay? So, what credit facility were available to you last year in 2021? How did you perform? What are your outstanding? Okay? How much debt have you carried into the current year? And how did you perform last year? Were there defaults? Are there things you could negotiate to give your cash flow a breathing space? That has to do with finance. You have to be specific. Also, there are different ways of financing business, debt financing, equity. So depending on what you want to do this year 2022, is it that you want to open another branch, you want to deepen certain services, you want to make new product offerings? All of these things need finance. Or you want to hire some experts, or you want to hire some people with a lot of experience, or you want to bring people on board. Okay, everything comes back to finance. And different forms of financing they are only relevant to different kinds of projects at hand. So debt financing has to do with borrowing, then you pay back. Equity financing means you sell a percentage of shares in your business. So let's say you sell 10% of your business or 20% of your business for XYZ millions of naira. In that case, those who have bought a part of your company have become part of the board, okay, part of the owners. So you are not paying them back, but they only share in the profits. And that means you do not have the burden of debt on you. But like I said, everything depends on what you have at hand. Now, this is very key. Debt over profit ratio, very important. How much profit did you make last year? What fraction of that went back into debt financing? So how much interest on loans did you pay in the past year? And what do you expect to do this year? So by the time you do a 3-year comparisons for this, you can actually see certain patterns for your business. And what is the ratio of debt to sales? Okay, so as you can see, I've been able to touch on 5. So let's come down to HR. HR is last but not the least. Our people are our number one asset. So in your human resource unit, you want to look at your staff strength. How many members of staff did you have in 2021 per unit, business unit, maybe your bakery, your supermarket, your pharmacy? Is that number adequate? You ask yourself. Then what about the attrition rate? Attrition means staff that you have lost to whether you sack them, they move on to another job, or they just simply quit working. There's nothing anybody can do about that. People keep moving for one reason or the other. Even you yourself as a business owner, you are a human resource and you move at some point. So attrition, those who resign, those who were sacked or who left for some other reasons, you have to be able to pin down their numbers and the why. Okay, future needs. Okay, this year, do we need more staff? Of what qualification? What kind of experience? What do we want them to do? Okay, you have to know ahead. That's what I mean by future needs. Also, talent acquisition and retention strategy. So what strategy do you have in place to acquire talents and retain them? A lot of companies use different methods. Some do job fair on campuses. Some go to postgraduate schools to try to get capable ends. Some even go as far as going to business schools around the world to get people into their business. And of course, don't forget, marketing can also be used as a tool for what? Talent acquisition. Because when you put your business in front of people out there, they feel like, oh, I want to be a part of this company. Okay, so I've touched on sales, marketing, inventory, accounts, finance, and HR. This is how to craft a startup strategy for your business in 2022. If you have any comments, please drop them in the comment section. If you have any question or if you have anything you feel I should touch on, please let us know. Simply contact us. And if you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and we want you to share this free resource with everybody. It's completely free, and we promise to do more. I remain Akindele Opeyemi, and this is Grand Masterclass. Thank you.